Every day begins with a choice. The choice to rise or the choice to remain asleep. Not just in bed, but in life. Waking up early is not about hours on the clock. It is about declaring war on laziness, on procrastination, on the weaker version of yourself that craves comfort more than growth. Waking up early is not about time. It is about discipline. The clock does not matter as much as the strength it takes to rise before the world, to stand up when your body pleads for more sleep, when your comfort chains you down. It is not the alarm that defines you. It is the decision you make when it rings. That decision is where discipline is forged, where the foundation of success is laid. Too many people think waking up early is just about squeezing more hours into a day, but it is far more powerful than that. It is a symbol of control, a daily test of whether you own your mind or your mind owns you. When you wake early, you train yourself to do what is hard, to do what is inconvenient. That is the essence of discipline. Discipline is not built in the grand moments, it is built in the small choices, the ones no one sees, the ones that seem insignificant but carve who you are becoming. Getting out of bed early is not glamorous. It does not bring applause, but it is the quiet victory that separates those who drift through life from those who command it. If you cannot conquer the pillow, how will you conquer your fears? If you cannot command yourself to rise, how will you command your future? Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be, and waking up early is the first step onto that bridge. It tells your mind that comfort is not your master, that laziness is not your ruler. It creates momentum, a forward push that carries into every decision that follows. You start your day with strength, not hesitation. You begin with proof that you are in charge, and that proof shapes the hours ahead. Every task feels different because you already know you are stronger than your excuses. Those who fail to build discipline fail to build their dreams. They talk about ambition, they speak of goals, but they never train themselves to follow through when it counts. The discipline of waking up early is like sharpening a blade. Each morning, the edge gets sharper, the willpower grows stronger, the resistance weakens. You train your spirit to obey, not rebel. You train your body to act, not stall. And over time, this simple act of rising before the world gives you a power most will never know. Waking up early also strips away the illusion that life will wait for you. It won't. Time is ruthless. Every hour wasted is an hour gone forever, and discipline is what ensures you never throw it away. When you rise early, you reclaim time that others hand over to sleep. You gain silence, focus, clarity. You carve out space where no one can interrupt, where the demands of the world cannot invade. And in that space, you build. You think, you grow, you move closer to the person you are meant to become. Discipline is not built in motivation, because motivation comes and goes. Discipline is built in routine, in repetition, in the act of choosing what you do not want in the moment to secure what you do want in the future. That is why waking up early matters. It proves that you do not bow to fleeting feelings. It proves that you are willing to sacrifice temporary ease for permanent strength. It proves that your word to yourself is not empty. The morning is your first battlefield, and victory begins there. Before the noise of the world, before the calls, the messages, the distractions, there is silence, and in that silence you face the first war of the day. It is not against others, it is not against circumstances, it is against yourself. The war between the part of you that wants to rise and the part that wants to hide under the blanket. The war between your discipline and your weakness. That moment defines the tone of everything that follows. If you win that battle, the day bends in your favor. If you lose, the day already has power over you before it has even begun. The battlefield of the morning is small, but it is decisive. It is where your strength is tested in the simplest way, because no one is watching, no one is applauding, no one is there to push you forward. It is you against you, in the dark, when comfort whispers its sweetest lies. Just 5 more minutes. just a little more rest. That is the enemy's voice. If you give in, you have already surrendered. But when you rise, when you plant your feet on the floor and refuse to let weakness dictate your actions, you secure victory that ripples into every other decision of the day. The morning is not just another part of the clock, it is the foundation of your momentum. Think of momentum like a fire. If you start the morning in strength, you light a blaze that carries you into work, into decisions, into actions. Each success fuels the next. But if you begin in weakness, you begin in ashes, dragging yourself through the hours with no fire inside. The first battlefield is what separates a day of power from a day of mediocrity. That is why warriors of life guard their mornings with intensity, because they understand the first win creates all the others. Every person has dreams, but not every person wins their mornings. Dreams without discipline are illusions, and discipline without early victories is fragile. The morning is where you prove to yourself that you are in command, that you are not a prisoner to comfort, that you can choose what strengthens you over what weakens you. And once you prove that in the quiet of dawn, the rest of the day obeys. The meetings, the work, the challenges, they all bend under the strength you built when no one else was awake. The battlefield of the morning is also sacred because it is unclaimed time. Before the world makes demands, before responsibilities crowd your focus, you own those hours fully. That ownership is priceless. In that time, you sharpen your mind, you move your body, you prepare your spirit, you create yourself before the world tries to shape you. And that creation is what gives you an edge. While others stumble into their days half awake, you march forward already victorious. This is why the morning must be seen as a war zone. You cannot walk into it casually. You cannot approach it with softness. You must see it for what it is, the testing ground of your will. The enemy you fight there is not outside, it is the hesitation, the comfort, the voice of weakness inside. If you crush it in the morning, it stays crushed for the rest of the day. But if you let it win, it will rise again and again until it owns every choice you make. The first battlefield decides the war. Those who win it rise above the crowd, not because they are more talented, but because they choose to be more disciplined. The morning is where leaders are forged, where strength is born, where the identity of a fighter is proven. Excuses sleep in, achievers rise before the world does. Excuses love comfort, they love softness, they love waiting for the right time. Excuses wrap themselves in warm blankets and whisper promises that tomorrow will be better, that tomorrow you will start, that tomorrow you will rise. But tomorrow never comes for those who obey excuses. They live in delay, in hesitation, in weakness. Achievers, on the other hand, understand that the world belongs to those who act before others. They rise before the sun, they rise before the noise, they rise before the distractions. They do not wait for the perfect time because they know the perfect time does not exist. They create the time. They own the time. Excuses are thieves. They steal the best hours of your life, the silent hours when your mind is clear, when your energy is untapped, when no one else is awake to disturb you. Those hours are a gift, but excuses convince you to waste them. They convince you to stay in bed, to scroll endlessly, to put off the work that matters. And when you obey them, you lose more than time, you lose self-respect. Because deep inside, you know you surrendered. You know you let weakness lead. That is why excuses feel comfortable in the moment, but heavy afterward. Achievers refuse to carry that weight. They know the pain of discipline is sharp but brief, while the pain of regret is endless. When an achiever wakes up before the world, they do not just gain time, they gain power. They enter the day prepared, while everyone else stumbles into it unready. They start on offense, not defense. By the time others are still battling the temptation to sleep, achievers are already building, already creating, already growing. This is why they advance faster. This is why they accomplish what others only dream of. They treat the early hours as a battlefield where victory is claimed quietly, without applause, without recognition, but with massive impact. Excuses disguise themselves as kindness. They tell you that you deserve rest, that you worked hard yesterday, that little more sleep won't hurt. But achievers know better. They know excuses are lies dressed as comfort. They know that every minute surrendered to laziness is a minute stolen from greatness. They rise not because it is easy, but because it is necessary. They rise because discipline matters more than desire. They rise because they refuse to give excuses a home in their mind. The difference between someone who talks about success and someone who lives success is visible in the morning. The talker stays in bed and convinces themselves that success will somehow arrive on its own. The achiever rises before the world, understanding that success is not given, it is built brick by brick in silence. The achiever knows that by the time the world wakes, they already hold an advantage that cannot be stolen. That advantage compounds every single day until the gap between them and everyone else is unbridgeable. Excuses are loud in the night, but powerless in the face of action. The moment you rise, the moment your feet touch the ground, excuses lose their grip. That is why achievers move quickly. They do not negotiate with weakness. They do not linger in hesitation. They act. They know that action destroys excuses faster than thought ever could. And once you have acted, once you have claimed the morning, the rest of the day follows with the same rhythm of strength. Excuses sleep in because they survive in darkness, in hesitation, in comfort. Achievers rise because they live in clarity, in discipline, in purpose. The morning reveals the difference. One chooses weakness, the other chooses power. One waits for life to happen, the other creates life before the world even stirs. Discipline in the morning shapes identity for the entire day. The first hours after you wake are not just hours, they are the foundation of who you decide to be. If you rise with strength, you carry strength into everything else. If you begin with weakness, you drag that weakness with you like a shadow that never leaves. The morning is not simply a start, it is a statement. It declares whether you are in control of yourself or if comfort owns you. That declaration is not silent. It echoes through every choice, every action, every outcome that follows. When you practice discipline in the morning, you set a standard. You tell yourself that the day will obey your will, not your feelings. You tell yourself that discipline is more important than desire, that structure is more powerful than mood. And that standard becomes your identity. You stop being someone who waits. You become someone who acts. You stop being someone who negotiates with weakness. You become someone who crushes it at its source. That transformation is not built in one dramatic moment. It is built in the small, repeated discipline of each morning. Identity is not what you say about yourself. It is what you repeatedly do. If you hit snooze, if you delay, if you start your morning with excuses, your identity becomes tied to those actions. You reinforce the idea that you cannot be trusted with your own promises. But if you rise, if you take control of those early hours, your identity grows stronger. You reinforce the belief that you are disciplined, that you are reliable, that you are the kind of person who follows through no matter what. That is why the morning is so critical. It is not about the minutes lost or gained. It is about the person you are building in those moments. Every decision in the morning creates a ripple. If you choose discipline, the ripple spreads into your work, into your health, into your relationships. You operate from a place of strength because you already proved to yourself that you are in command. But if you choose laziness, the ripple spreads in the opposite direction. You move slower, you think weaker, you accept less from yourself. The difference in outcome is enormous, yet it all traces back to the same root, the discipline you chose or refused at the beginning of the day. The morning is pure, untouched by the noise of others. It is the one time you fully control before the world demands your attention. To waste it is to waste the best chance you have to shape yourself. Discipline in those hours is like drawing a line in the sand. This is who I am. This is who I refuse to be. That kind of clarity gives power. It gives focus. It gives you the strength to say no to distractions, no to temptations, no to the parts of yourself that want to stay small. When discipline rules your morning, identity becomes unshakable. You stop waiting for motivation because you no longer depend on it. You know who you are, and because of that, you know what you must do. Motivation is fleeting, but identity is constant. And when your identity is rooted in discipline, you do not waver when challenges come. You move forward because that is who you are. This is why mornings matter more than people realize. They are not just the start of the day, they are the start of you. They decide if you walk into the day as a warrior or as a servant to comfort. They decide if your identity grows stronger or weaker. They decide if you prove yourself reliable or if you betray yourself once again. The discipline of the morning writes the story of the day, and repeated daily, it writes the story of a life. Those who delay decay, those who rise advance. Delay is the silent killer of potential. It feels harmless in the moment because it whispers promises of more time, of another chance, of tomorrow. But tomorrow is a liar, and delay is its weapon. Every time you delay, you push your growth further away, and every time you push it away, you weaken yourself without realizing it. Delay eats at your spirit the way rust eats at steel. It makes you softer, weaker, slower. The decay is not instant, it is gradual, which makes it more dangerous, because by the time you notice, the damage is already deep. Those who delay live their lives in waiting. Waiting for the right season, waiting for motivation, waiting for a sign. They forget that waiting is just another form of surrender. Life does not pause for them. Opportunities do not wait for them. Time does not slow down for them. They sit still while the clock keeps moving, and with each tick, they are left further behind. That is the decay of delay, the slow death of wasted time, the erosion of ambition, the burial of dreams. But those who rise, those who refuse to delay, they advance. Rising is more than just waking up early. It is a mindset of urgency. It is a declaration that now is the time, not later, not someday, but now. Those who rise do not negotiate with hesitation. They understand that hesitation breeds fear, and fear grows stronger the longer it is fed. The only way to kill hesitation is with immediate action, and that is what rising is, action in its purest form. Advancement is not given, it is earned through action. Every step forward comes from a choice to act when others wait. Every victory belongs to those who rise when it is hard, when it is inconvenient, when it does not feel good. Rising early is a symbol of this truth. It is the simplest way to prove that you do not delay, that you do not let weakness dictate your pace. While others sleep, you rise. While others plan to start tomorrow, you have already started. That habit of rising creates momentum, and momentum creates advancement. Those who delay always tell themselves that they will start later, but later is a trap. Later becomes never, because delay builds comfort, and comfort builds chains. The longer you delay, the harder it is to rise. It is like sinking in quicksand. The more you wait, the deeper you go. But those who rise break free before the sand hardens around them. They move quickly. They act before delay has a chance to tighten its grip. And because of that, they gain ground while others are stuck. Advancing in life is not about giant leaps. It is about consistent steps forward. Those steps are only possible if you rise, if you choose action over waiting. Even the smallest rise creates progress, while even the smallest delay creates decay. This is why successful people look unstoppable. Because while others are stuck in cycles of waiting, they have been steadily advancing day after day, stacking victories while the rest are still debating when to begin. Delay is the language of weakness, but rising is the language of strength. Delay is fueled by excuses, rising is fueled by discipline. Delay wastes time, rising multiplies it. Delay kills dreams slowly, rising breathes life into them daily. Those who decay never realize until it is too late that they had the same hours, the same opportunities, the same mornings as everyone else. The only difference is that they chose to wait, and waiting cost them everything. Those who rise advance because they do not wait for the perfect moment. They create it. They do not wait for permission. They take it. They do not delay their strength. They use it now. And because of that, the gap between them and those who delay only grows wider with each passing day. Wake up early or life will leave you behind. Life does not wait for anyone. It moves forward whether you are ready or not, whether you are disciplined or not, whether you rise or stay asleep. Every morning you choose whether to step in rhythm with life or to lag behind. Those who wake up early are already moving, already building, already creating before the world has even opened its eyes. They take control of time while others hand it away. They live ahead of the curve, and because of that, they stay ahead in everything else. Falling behind does not happen in one big moment. It happens in small daily choices. Sleeping in feels harmless, but it stacks. Each morning lost to laziness is a step backward, a chance missed, a victory given away. The world is ruthless in rewarding action and ruthless in punishing hesitation. Those who choose comfort over discipline find themselves wondering why nothing changes, why success feels so far away. The truth is simple: life passed them while they slept. When you wake up early, you gain more than time. You gain space to prepare, to think, to build yourself before the noise of the world comes crashing in. You own the silence. You own the focus. You own the best hours of the day. Those who sleep through them surrender their most valuable resource. They wake up already behind, already catching up, already chasing instead of leading. That is why life leaves them behind. It does not slow down for those who are late. Waking up early is not just a habit, it is a discipline that reshapes destiny. It creates separation. It draws a clear line between those who take life seriously and those who treat it casually. The achievers, the builders, the leaders, these are the ones who rise when others do not. They understand that success is not about doing what feels good, it is about doing what is necessary. They refuse to give their mornings to weakness, because they know weakness in the morning becomes weakness in the day, and weakness in the day becomes weakness in life. The gap between those who rise and those who sleep is not measured in hours, it is measured in results. Every project completed, every skill mastered, every opportunity seized is compounded by the extra time and clarity gained in the morning. Over weeks and months, the gap widens until it is impossible to ignore. Those who wake up early advance so far that those who stayed behind can no longer see them. And by then, it is too late to catch up. Life rewards those who respect time, and it leaves behind those who waste it. There will always be a voice that tempts you to stay in bed. That voice will tell you that you deserve rest, that another hour won't matter, that tomorrow is fine. But that voice is a trap. Every hour matters. Every choice matters. Every morning matters. If you give in once, you teach yourself to give in again. But if you rise once, you teach yourself to rise again. That repetition builds identity, and identity builds destiny. Waking up early is not just about today. It is about every tomorrow that follows. Life is not fair, but it is honest. It does not hand out rewards to those who wait. It does not favor those who wish. It favors those who act, those who rise, those who seize the hours others throw away. Wake up early and you step into life with control, with power, with advantage. Stay asleep and you hand it all away. Every day begins with a choice, to rise or to remain asleep, not just in bed, but in life. The act of waking up early is more than hours on a clock. It is proof of who you are and who you are willing to become. It is the first battle, the first test, the first declaration of strength. Those who rise claim victory before the world even stirs, while those who delay surrender without realizing it. Morning discipline shapes identity, and identity shapes destiny. Excuses will always beg you to stay small, but discipline demands you rise. Those who choose sleep fall behind. Those who choose strength move forward. In the silence of dawn, there is no one to impress, no audience to cheer. You face only yourself. And in that moment, you decide whether you will lead your life or let life leave you behind.